Michelob. By United Airlines, you're not just flying, you're flying the friendly skies. And by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately?
Welcome to Irving, Texas, and Texas Stadium. Dick Enberg with Merlin Olsen. The oven-hot days of summer and early fall are over. The temperature today is in the 60s. A reminder, only 7 games to go. If you want to get in the playoffs, now's the time where you can afford to lose a single game.
You watch your main men on the field. Landry lost the starting quarterback. Danny White went down. He's got young Steve Pallure in there. That means he wants to lean heavily on the running game. But Herschel Walker has a bad ankle. Tony Dorsett, a bad knee. The Cowboys have some injury problems today.
Well, the Raiders are looking at 2 key players as well. Marcus Allen has started only 2 of the last 6 games for the Raiders. Last year's MVP will start today. And Howie Long, who missed last week's game against Denver, will be in the lineup today.
Flores, I'm sure, concerned about 2 of his best players. Howie Long probably will play today, but that hamstring could limit his effectiveness.
The Raiders will receive the ball on the opening kickoff. Raphael Septien, who missed 3 field goals in that giant loss last week, approaches the ball for the white-jerseyed and white-helmeted Cowboys, as Ahmad Rashad referred to them. And the black shirts have trouble. Fulton Walker finally picks up the ball and is down at the 14-yard line. Bill Bates there to make sure that Walker didn't get away from his own mistake. Mark Wilson, speaking of mistakes, guilty of 5 of them last week that cost the Raiders in their loss at home against the Broncos. He has the fine blocking fullback Frank Hawkins and the MVP of 1985 in this league, Marcus Allen, behind him. Rod Barksdale, as is the custom of the Raiders, the speedster, will start the game but will be played sparingly. Dokie Williams, the other wide receiver. Todd Christensen, second in the league in catches to Altoon. Davis, Hanna, Mosbar, Marvin, and Lawrence, the offensive line. First down, Raiders at their own 14. And they start with a mistake by the left tackle, Bruce Davis. Davis moving before the snap.
An anxiety attack.
Full start, number 79.
Already some nerves on the part, and there's Bruce Davis jumping off too early in his eagerness to get out and get a hold of Jim Jeffcoat. You've seen it already, what can happen to a team when they are a little too tight. Unusual for the Raiders. Unusual for them to have that kind of anxiety, but they know how crucial this game is, and I'm sure they're reacting to that.
So Wilson now in the hole deep in his own end. Hawkins to the 11-yard line, short yardage. When you looked at this game at the start of this season, it jumped out at you in November. The Raiders at Dallas. And while they're not leading their divisions, the game does feature 2 of the best teams with the best stars in the league. And there are some of them for the Dallas Cowboys. Jones, Dutton, Randy White, and Jeffcoat on the front line. Hegman, Lockhart, and Rohr, the backers. And the deep 4 for Dallas, Everson Walls, Ron Fellows, Bill Bates, Michael Downs, the best in the NFL against the pass thus far. Napoleon McCallum is in the backfield, and Wilson's first throw flops out of bounds to the right as Wilson is nailed as he delivers the ball by Mike Hegman and Jim Jeffcoat.
The heat was on coming from that right side. Jeffcoat is one of the leaders in the NFL in sacks. It goes right over the top of Bruce Davis. He's got all kinds of company, and Mark Wilson just threw that ball away, and wisely so, or he would have gone to the ground.
So from the 11-yard line, Wilson in a pass situation, and this is where the Cowboys love to get their opponents, and they'll bring safeties or corners or backers and put the pressure on the quarterback. Barksdale to the right. They split Christensen way out to the left. Down goes Wilson. Randy White with a sack.
And Henry Lawrence may have been hurt on that play. Randy White just blitzed around Charlie Hanna, number 73. Just left him on the ground.
8 consecutive years, 54. Randy White, All-Pro.
A chance to watch Randy White, right? Watch him as he just blitzes to the outside. Just a hard move as he head slapped Charlie Hanna and then just whips to the outside to crunch Mark Wilson.
Ray Guy has his heels on the back line of the end zone as he delivers the punt end over end. Gordon Banks at the 44 of the Raiders. 40, 35, and Banks finally down at the 25.
The Cowboys are writing the script so far.
Steve Pallor for the injured Danny White at quarterback, and they think that this is the quarterback of the future. Pallor is 10 years younger than White. The ex-Washington star is 24. Dorsett will start with Timmy Newsom. Tony Hill moving into the #1 spot in almost all the Cowboy catching categories with Mel Renfro and Doug Cosby. Tunay, Titans are Rafferty, Kerr, and Cooper, the offensive line, and they begin at the Raider 25. Dorsett. Boy, Tony, had he used one of those outside moves, he had a crowd to the inside. He had open running to the left, but nevertheless picks up 7 on his first carry against this Raider defense. Greg Townsend, Bill Pickel, and Sean Jones. Howie Long not in the starting lineup, but they say he will play. Jerry Robinson with Millen, McKenzie, and Martin the backers. And the talented secondary of the Raiders, Hayes and Haynes at the corners, Turan and McElroy at safety. 2nd and 3. Pallor's first pass is complete to Renfro, and Renfro has a 1st and goal at the 8-yard line.
Mike Renfro, after a prolonged absence early in the season, getting back into the swing of things. Got 4 passes last week. Just a simple little stop pattern for him as he runs Lester Hayes off and then stops in front of him there. A missed tackle there. Van McElroy, 26, also misses. I believe that's Pickel coming from the inside from the nose tackle position to finally make the stop.
Good hustle by Pickel, the 260-pound nose tackle, to possibly save a touchdown. Tony Dorsett. And Dorsett, who has gained, flag is down, by the way, 1,000 yards or more in every year that has been a full season in the NFL. The only time that he was stopped short of 1,000 was the strike-shortened year, and the Cowboys drive toward an early score stalled by that holding penalty, and how that turns the stomach of the Cowboy fans after what happened last week against the Giants.
Well, they really lost that game, at least in their own feeling, because of critical penalties in the last drive.
Holding 71, offense.
The call goes against Mark Tuanay, who is playing left tackle.
Bill Pozderick, the man who was guilty of several of those penalties last week, is out of the lineup. You see at the top of your picture, number 61, Jim Cooper, who came out of the lineup earlier in the season. Pozderick went in. Now they've switched roles again. Cooper getting a chance. Boy, I got to tell you, when you have a bad day, you want to get out there and play the next week and take a shot at it.
Howie Long, 75, is in the middle of the defense now for the Raiders as Dorsett on the sweep is to the 9-yard line as he gets back most of the yardage and that 10-yard penalty. 9 or 10 yards on that carry by number 33, Tony Dorsett.
Anticipating the pass, Raider defense set themselves for the pass rush. The Cowboys cross them up here as they toss it to Tony Dorsett. Always dangerous, so explosive. Look at the way he just picks his way up through that hole. Great vision. He said he reacts, Dick, to flashes of color, not to uniform numbers or anything else.
Herschel Walker, number 34. He warmed up well, and the feeling is, despite that ankle that limited his practice time this week, we'll see him this afternoon. 2nd and goal. And time called by Pallor. He was about to run out of the 30 seconds. So with the Dallas Cowboys knocking at the door early in this 4th quarter, we have a timeout here in Irving, Texas.
Michelob.
Cowboys holding the Raiders on their first possession and returning the punt into the 25-yard line. Have first and goal, the 10-yard penalty, and it's second and goal at the 9-yard line after a 9-yard carry by Tony Dorsett as Tom Landry with that familiar strategy sheet in front of him, and it's getting bigger and bigger with Paul Hackett as offensive coordinator.
Of course, that's Danny White there, cast and all, signaling the plays in from the sideline for the Cowboys.
Renfro right, Tony Hill split left. Dorsett and Newsome split now behind Pallur. Inside handoff to Dorsett, and just when it appeared he had some good running room, up came James Davis, number 45, from Southern University, to make a sure open field tackle. Let's check the scores around the NFL. In the fourth, the Jets trying to make it 9-1 at Atlanta. New England has rallied to beat the Colts 30-21, and Chicago apparently a winner at Tampa Bay. The Rams lose on a couple of field goals in New Orleans. Kansas City is beating Seattle. And there you see the rest of the scores. Third and goal. Pallur to Renfro, but he's out of bounds at the 2-yard line. Short of the goal line as Mike Haynes saved a touchdown, and that apparently will force Tom Landry's hand. In comes the field goal unit and Raphael Septien. Septien, who was nearly perfect, 10 of 11 until last week when he missed all 3.
Mike Renfro in motion here, fakes up into the line and then gets to the outside. That ball way out in front of him. He had to gather himself. I think if that ball had been thrown a little to his shoulder, he might have been able to turn upfield and get his momentum into the end zone. But just no way that he could catch that football and control it and turn upfield.
We saw the kicking guru here in Dallas, Putin Ben Agajanian, with a watch in hand, a mentor of Septien, who tries this extra point field goal. And he's got it right down the middle, and the Cowboys are on the board.
There's Boomin' Ben. Septien calls him Uncle Ben, and Uncle Ben shook his head a little bit on that one. That ball was on the ground. Pallur did a great job of picking it up and holding it.
20 yards on the field goal, 3-0 Cowboys. Colton Walker had trouble on the first one, handles this one cleanly. The former Dolphin is at the 20. And he skips out to the 29-yard line. A little better position for Mark Wilson than the last, a 26-yard return. Manny Hendricks, the former basketball player at Utah. You went to school with Cornell Green at Utah State, and he was the famed basketball star with the Aggies that became an all-pro defensive back with Dallas.
We tried to talk him into playing football his senior year. He was such a great basketball player, such a great athlete. Well, he proved that. An all-pro safety here for the Cowboys for many years.
And now the experiment involves Manny Hendricks from the University of Utah, where he was an all-WAC guard in basketball. Hawkins hit by Lockhart at the 32-yard line.
We still have not seen Marcus Allen, except for that first series, just briefly. Napoleon McCallum again in to start this second series.
So yet to see the two stars, Marcus Allen for the Raiders and Herschel Walker, yet to get a call for the Cowboys. Napoleon McCallum comes out as a wing right, only Hawkins in the backfield, 2nd down and 7. Wilson going long. Barksdale, and the pass not deep enough. Barksdale had to slow down as Wilson's arm didn't quite get it there. Ron Fellows on the coverage.
The Raiders love to stretch you, and one of the people that can do it is a man with Olympic speed, and Barksdale has that. A true sprinter, a track man, simply outran that football. Mark Wilson, who does not have the strongest arm in football, tends to loft those long passes, really puts them in the air. And Marcus Allen finally makes his appearance. There's someone who would love to have a chance to put on his helmet.
Allen now teaming with Hawkins on 3rd and 7. Well, 3rd and 8 officially, but it's closer to 7. Wilson in trouble, gets away from White and throws the ball away. Well covered with Doki Williams on the near sidelines, and the Cowboys putting pressure on Mark Wilson.
And you saw Billy Bates telling Mark Wilson, good job of getting away from that sack, and it was. Wilson able to avoid the sack. That's something he has traditionally had difficulty with. He simply threw that football away, had no other choice, and breakdowns in the protection of the quarterback here.
But the Raiders apparently are going to get a break here of their own.
Illegal contact. 24, defense.
Everson Walls.
So the 5-yard penalty, but more importantly, the automatic first down out at the 37-yard line.
Well, the Raiders, after suffering through some bad breaks in that first series, now suddenly getting a break of their own to keep a drive alive.
It's Dallas 3, the Raiders nothing. 9 minutes left, first quarter. Todd Christensen can't quite lean back far enough to grab that one. Christensen, who has 18 catches in the last 2 games, and on the year with 57, one behind the Jets' Al Toon for the NFL lead starting today's play.
Dick, he was the second choice of these Dallas Cowboys back in 1978, led them in the preseason as a running back. Now, he wanted to be a running back. They said, we want you to play tight end. He didn't want to play tight end. Landry finally kept him on injured reserve that year, but cut him the next year. Went to the Giants for a game, and then the Raiders finally got him, and he was willing then to make the transition. He's been a great one.
Julian McCallum. And Randy White, having a big first quarter, rides him down. And let's take another look at those scores. We didn't really get a chance to absorb them before. Here are the late games. San Diego with the early lead at Denver, and San Francisco with Joe Montana back in the harness, leading St. Louis 3-0. There are the finals for you. Winners are the Jets, New England, and Chicago. New Orleans, Kansas City, and Houston now has come back to take a 1-point lead against Cincinnati in the fourth. Washington, Minnesota, and Buffalo also victorious. Third down and 9, and down goes Wilson for the third time. Too tall Jones with Don Smirek, number 60, an assist, and Wilson's third sack of the quarter, and the punting team is on.
Cowboys number 2 in the league in sacks, and boy, they're going to put some pressure on Denver. If they continue this pace, they'll be number 1. Wilson sacked 4 times last week. That was a critical part of having their problems against the Broncos, and so far in this game, they simply have not been able to protect their quarterback.
Denver with 38 sacks leads the NFL. Dallas is second. The Raiders have allowed 33 sacks coming in, now 36. That's the third highest. Beautiful spiral by Guy. That's the Ray Guy punter of old. Gordon Banks back at his 15, and no place to hide as he swarmed over at the 19. Reggie McKenzie, one of the first downfield. 53 yards for Guy. 3-yard return.
When you see that many Raiders down there, you know that ball was in the air a long time.
Timeout. 7 minutes, 54 left in the quarter.
What? You work out?
Yeah, I belong to a club. Where's your crew's leg?
Yeah, I'm thinking about joining a club, but can't seem to find a good enough reason. I mean, is a flat stomach a good enough reason?
Nope.
Building up my endurance?
Nope.
Big muscles?
No.
See the club, Rob?
Yeah.
Oh! What's the name of that club?
No slowing down with the silver bullet tonight.
Treading up an old inner tube last night.
No, you didn't. What you see me holding is actually something that George Anderson, the trainer, is using on the back of Howie Long's leg to help his hamstring. And what it does, they cinch it up, and it returns that leg to this position, so you take some of the pressure off the hamstring. But it is a piece of pure rubber.
A little creativity used, just a piece of old inner tube to keep Howie Long's hamstring together. This is Dorsett. His knees are the problem, but he doesn't show any difficulty there. The typical Dorsett weave for about 10 yards. And a reminder, our viewers will be selecting the Budweiser Most Valuable Player in today's game. Of course, that announcement at the conclusion of today's contest.
Dick, we said in our opening that when you have a young quarterback in the game, and Landry is very high on Steve Pallor, but what you'd like to do is take as much pressure off of him as you can. You can do that with your running game. If Dorsett and Walker can be effective in running the football today, that means that Pallor can run the play-action passes. He can choose when they're going to throw the football. Of course, Hackett upstairs and Landry will do a good job of selecting plays that will keep him out of that pressurized situation, if possible.
10 yards for Dorsett and a first down. Dorsett out to the 37-yard line. A flag is down where you would suspect a foul against the Cowboys. Reggie McKenzie from Tennessee made the tackle.
I think Timmy Newsom did a good job of tackling Rod Martin, number 53, on that play. Wouldn't it be nice if we could run this well on good legs? Well, mine aren't so good. But look at Dorsett. That little dip inside and then accelerating to the outside.
Number 30, offense.
You actually hear the call there, number 30 offense, Timmy Newsom. You'll see it. He is the lead blocker in this situation, and a fine blocker. Left-hand side of your screen. Watch him going at number 53, Rod Martin. Keep it going, guys. You see him right there just turning and tackling Martin, and that's what the flag was thrown for.
Dorsett now 4 carries for 30 yards. He has a chance to pass O.J. Simpson, number 5 all time, if he has a decent afternoon. Pallure. No one there, but this is one of his talents, able to scramble, and he's across the 25. And, of course, the ability to get himself out of trouble and to pick up positive yards reminds the good Dallas fans of a man named Staubach.
Yeah, gives me some funny feelings, too. I'd had a chance to play against Staubach many times, and, of course, he would do that to you. You think you have him, and the next minute he's heading upfield. There's Herschel Walker into the ball game, and when he goes into the game, they want him.
He's the only man in the NFL with more than 500 yards rushing and receiving. He's the number 4 receiver in the league with 49 catches, despite the fact he's not been playing full time. There's your dream Heisman backfield, Dorsett and Walker behind Pallure. Wide open Cosby, and he has a first down at the 41. It's interesting, 2 All-Pro or Pro Bowl tight ends, Cosby, who has 18 catches all year, Christensen, who has 18 catches in the last 2 games. Of course, Cosby's effectiveness taken away by Walker's skill.
Certainly so, and in this situation, they're using Walker and Dorsett as screen men, as decoys. Cosby, the number 1 receiver all the way, and that's what an offense like this can do to you. They force you to do things you don't want to do on defense. That means receivers are open, and the quarterback in that case hit the open man.
Walker moves out into the flat. Actually, Newsom back in the game. Walker just into that play.
Ooh.
And knifing through was Jerry Robinson, number 57, to drop Dorsett for a sizable loss of 7.
Toss to the outside, but look at the penetration by number 57. Robinson goes right over Timmy Newsom, number 30. That is an excellent play.
Robinson, a 3-time All-America at UCLA. He had a long face today, as Bruins will not go back to the Rose Bowl this year. Arizona State.
Cosby over there, San Antonio. You're supposed to be on this side, directing traffic over there.
2nd and 17. To the 43-yard line. That'll be about 7 yards shy of a first down. I want to finish that thought. Congratulations to all the fans down in Tempe, Arizona. The Sun Devils are in the Rose Bowl. There's a lot of confusion elsewhere, but one school can celebrate early. We know that it'll be Arizona State against the Big Ten champion in the Rose Bowl here on NBC January 1.
How sweet it must be, that first trip to the granddaddy of them all.
Steve Pallure, who knows the feeling, takes his team to the line of scrimmage. Pallure was a sophomore winner with the University of Washington when they shut out Iowa 28-0. Out of the shotgun. This is what he does very well, and has the first down to the 41 of the Raiders. Ooh, did he take a lick there, and a foul on Turan. Actually, Pallure was reaching back as if he thought he had fumbled, and Turan was not trying to hurt Pallure. He was going after the ball that he thought might be free, but the whistle had blown, and therefore Turan picks up an extra 15.
Let's go back and take a look at the play. We can see the pressure. Here we go. Now, this is Greg Townsend, a lineman in a linebacking position. He's coming. They're coming from the inside. Now, watch Pallure as he drops back, sees the pressure, and just breaks out of there quickly on his own. The blitz is on. Fuller knows he's not going to have time. He sees the opening and gets away. Now at the end of this play, the ball breaks loose. Fuller thought he had fumbled that football. He is scrambling for it, and Turan dove for the football. But they ticketed him anyway.
Because the whistle had sounded and the players expected to react to the whistle, although Turan, understandably, was reacting to what he thought might be a free ball. I don't think that was
I don't think it was an intentional hit.
I agree. 27-yard line, a first down for the Cowboys. They lead 3-0, just under 4 minutes remaining in the opening quarter. Dorsett to the 24, a gain of 3. Howie Long there with the tackle.
They're testing Howie. They want to see how strong that hamstring is. They went right at him on that play. Got him off the line a little bit, but he was in on that tackle.
Howie says his real dream in sports is to be a power forward with the Boston Celtics. He can be a power something anywhere he wants to play.
Well, and Howie Long and Randy White, perhaps the two premier linemen in the last decade in the NFL defensively.
Oh, we've got Dorsett and Walker and Marcus Allen and Long and White and the 2 Pro Bowl tight ends, and on it goes. Plenty of headliners in this one, and Fuller cannot beat the 30-second count, and it may be, for Landry's choice, better to take the 5 yards than waste another timeout.
That was an uncharacteristic response from Fuller, too. He is known to be a cool customer out there, and you saw him jumping in the air in frustration on that play. Here's the end of the play. There he is trying to get the timeout. He missed it. And watch him. He's absolutely doing cartwheels out there. NFL Films will tuck that one away.
5-yard penalty makes it second down and about 11 and a half.
Howie Long to the sideline to get a drink of water. When you're hurt, something else that happens, and there are a lot of players playing injured today, there's some anxiety involved there. Very often that will rob you of your energy, and sometimes it's that becomes more of a problem than the actual injury itself.
Temperature today, beautiful day in Texas, in the mid-60s. Walker. And Herschel is to the 26-yard line. We're talking with Tony Dorsett yesterday at practice for Dallas, and I asked him about Walker. I said, how are things going with you and Herschel? And he said, you know, when he first arrived at the ball club, I said, can this guy, Walker, really be for real? He said, he just seems to be the nicest guy, the most personable, all that talent and everything else. And he says, you know something, Dick? Herschel Walker is a genuine cat.
Well, he is that. I have fond memories of the Waller Camp dinner where he just put his arm around my 10-year-old son at that time, and we gave him some thoughts and some memories that he still carries happily.
Nice to know that great players can be great guys. On third down and 9. Ooh, Dorsett and no flag.
Ball tipped away. I think Piquel got his hand on that football. Looked like it glanced a little bit.
And Septien will come on to try the field goal. He made the little chip shot from 20 for the game's only score, and now with 1:58 left in the opening period, Dallas will try to extend it to 6-0. It'll be 43 or 44 yards, depending on the spot. Used to be you could just take the 10 for the distance in the end zone and then add 7 to figure it out. But now almost every team uses an 8-yard distance behind the center. And this one will be 44 yards.
A reaction to more height on that defensive line primarily.
Fuller to hold.
Going to be off.
And short. Short and to the right for Septien, who did not hit that one cleanly at all. So after a 10 for 11 start, Raphael Septien has made only 1 of the last 5. And Booten Ben Agajanian not at all pleased. Timeout. 1:53 left in the quarter.
The first look will move you with revealing shapes that reveal even more about the overall design. But there's an inner design that can only be felt when these cars are actually driven. This is Ford today, designed to move you like never before.
Not everyone got a vacation this summer.
Great
I need a vacation like nobody's business. I need a vacation.
This fall, you can still get great low fares to more places on the biggest bargain airline, United.
I got a vacation.
Give me another shot at it.
And I'm not just flying, I'm flying the friendly sky.
Nice soft landing.
It's a Radio Shack Merry Christmas.
I'm giving everyone a mini phone from Radio Shack. That way they'll call often. It's trim, compact, and has an automatic redial. And the 16-foot cord means they can use it anywhere around the house. The best of all, it's on sale for only $12.95. I even bought myself one. Hello? Hello? Hello?
The mini phone on sale for $12.95, only at Radio Shack. This fall, NBC Sports has a November to remember when heart-pounding excitement returns to the greens, where one putt could be worth $450,000. Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer, Lee Trevino, and Fuzzy Zeller play the Skins Game. It's a November to remember on NBC.
Raider defense going to the classroom with Earl Leggett, while Mark Wilson sets the offensive line at the 26. Septien missing from 44. It remains 3-0. Frank Hawkins able to roll ahead to the 29 for a couple of yards. John Dutton there to secure the tackle. Other late games in the NFL. Denver has kicked a field goal to tie San Diego at 3. No score Giants at Philadelphia. Fans here in Texas watching that one closely. And Joe Montana, returning from back surgery, has thrown a 45-yard touchdown pass to Jerry Rice. And the 49ers lead St. Louis 10-0. Frank Hawkins from Nevada, Reno, and his alma mater winning again yesterday at Boise State. They're unbeaten 10-0 this year.
Dick, the Cowboys flex defense. One of the things the flex defense does is to move a couple of players off the ball. And it's one of the reasons that they have trouble rushing the passer on running downs. Those players a yard back, they're a full step away from getting into the pass rush. It's basically a run-oriented, gap-control defense, and you can see how tough it is to run against. But it does create problems if you pass on first and second down.
Now they look for pass on 3rd down and 5, and Wilson calls time. And he was running out of 30 seconds. And again, I still don't quite understand sometimes, as valuable as those timeouts may be, why sometimes they just don't take the 5 yards and save the timeout.
When I came here in 1982, I was what you call a free agent, a long shot. Some thought I didn't have the talents, but in the NFL, I got my chance. There are a lot of people who want a chance in life and just need the opportunity to make it on their own. I'm Bill Bates of the Dallas Cowboys, and this is my wife, Denise.
And here in Dallas, they're getting their chance through the agencies and the programs the United Way. As United Way volunteers, we've seen how it works. Come on, we'll show you.
One of the most critical needs for single parents is daycare services. Last year, United Way's contributed over $45 million to make daycare services available in communities all across the country.
And this is the payoff. Happy children receiving professional quality care, helping parents to make a way for themselves.
That's why we want to say thanks, because thanks to you it works for all of us, the United Way.
This message furnished by the National Football League.
Whether you refer to it as a must-win or you can't-lose game, so it is for these two teams fighting for a playoff spot. And Dallas Cowboys with the early edge, 3-0 on a short field goal by Septien of 20. He missed from 44. And now a 3rd down at about 4 as Lester Hayes, the orating cornerback of the Raiders.
He's busy talking. What a character.
Maybe the most quotable athlete in the NFL. Both wide receivers to the right. Dokie Williams in motion. Smirek was offside for Dallas. Wilson goes through with a pass, and Williams has a 1st down as he goes out of bounds at the 47-yard line. 15 yards on the pass, and they undoubtedly will decline the penalty.
Anticipating the pass, you see all the linemen snugged up on the line in what the Cowboys call their 4-0 defense. Turn it loose. There you see them jumping off. Now Wilson wisely goes ahead with the play. It's a free play for him. So they have the choice of taking the penalty or whatever gain they get. In this case, they'll certainly take the gain. It's a big one. There's Ernie Stotner giving his signals from the sideline. He liked what he saw earlier in the game. Has to be a little frustrated at what's happening right now out there.
That was the second completion for Wilson. Napoleon McCallum, and the ensign is hit by the hitting machine, Eugene Lockhart from the University of Houston.
Lockhart, who played somewhat passively last week in that loss to the Giants, and they've been on him this week to be more aggressive. Certainly aggressive on that play.
His business partner is Randy Love of the Cardinals. They have the Lockhart Love photo 1-hour service, so they gave the quick development on that play. There's the gun in the end of the first quarter.